why you're an entrepreneur in the first place?
Well, that's a great question. You know, when I was very young age, like 13, 14, well, very young age, like 11, I started selling candy in my community.
Okay.
You know, just down here in Lake Bean and Jones, you know, on North Las Vegas.
You're how old again?
I was like 11, 12.
Oh, yeah? Okay, nice. Where are you selling the candy?
Mexican candy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we were selling it because, you know, we were trying to make an extra income. And my grandma's like, you know, she loves being in selling stuff. So
Nice.
I told my grandma, I'll help you sell candy. It's not hard. So, you know, that's how we started, very young age.
Oh, so your abuelita inspired you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But your parents are pretty entrepreneurial.
Yes.
And your grandparents are pretty entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Did you ever ask your grandmother where she got the entrepreneurial spirit, or if her parents were entrepreneurial?
Well, in Mexico, she had her own business, her own little store.
Nice.
You know, it's something I haven't talked about it a lot. My grandma had her own store. Both of them, my grandpa and my grandma, had properties, you know, but then they sold it. You know, that's where it comes from. And then, you know, my dad, it came from there. And then my grandma had a store that she sold it back in the day.
Oh,
And
cool. So there's like flipping,
Yeah.
you know, building.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how everything started. You know?
Well, so it goes deep, that
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, the
and,
history.
But things have changed, right? Like in
Yeah.
terms of the world has changed, the internet, you know,
Yeah.
content, so much.
Yeah.
So you did candy for a little while.
Yeah, for a while.
What did you do after that?
After I did candy, I started going to more like, you know, multi-level marketing, direct sales.
Like as a teenager?
Yeah, a teenager, like direct sales.
Yeah.
13, 14 years old.
Oh, wow. Like your parents would just take
Yeah.
you to events?
Yeah, to events, and you know,
Nice.
my parents used to take their bulk bags.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
From the house, sell products.
Right.
I'm like, what are you guys selling?
They're
Coming
like-
home late. I'm like, what are you guys selling? So, you know, I started getting involved with them. Speaking of friends, they're like, oh, go give a testimony of the product you're drinking. I'm like,
Nice.
okay, you're using. So, you know, I used to use the product, be part of the product. You
Right.
know?
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
that's-
of course.
You know?
Of course. That's awesome. Just a quick funny story. I remember I was selling an energy drink one time, and the founder of the energy drink didn't want to drink his drink in the meeting. He was like, "Oh, I don't drink that shit."
He's like, I don't drink that.
I was like, "What?"
And
we're in the middle of a sales meeting, man. Like, just drink it. Like,
all right,
oh, you shouldn't be selling
now
it.
the question is, Elias, how did Elias started years ago in his teenage years?
Well, you know, I've always been very like a bookworm back in the day, like before phones, because I grew up before phones, and I remember the first time I used a computer was probably I was like 5 years old.
Man, 5 years old.
Yeah, grateful that my parents could, you know, give me that exposure as soon as
Yeah.
they could, and it was with AOL, dial-up, you know, the sounds it
the
makes.
the buttons.
Yeah, and I just would do like, you know, typing tests.
Yeah.
But I also love learning about everything, especially science and all that. So I always just loved learning science.
Yeah.
And so tech started becoming a little bit easier. I got into Neopets.
Yeah.
And then I started, like flipping stuff on the internet.
You're flipping stuff?
Yeah, I would do all these like online quizzes. There's these like surveys where you can make like a couple pennies. I'm talking about like when I was like 10, 11 years old. I'm like, I'll do a survey, and make like, you know, half a penny off that survey. But then I would do so many surveys until I started buying stuff off of Alibaba. That was like video game supplies.
I remember that.
Or it wasn't Alibaba, it was some kind of site.
Yeah.
And I always was trying to make websites work. I was
Yeah.
playing around putting up websites. I put
Yeah.
up like a video game site. Those did not work. But here's the thing. With the quizzes, I got enough of, like, I did enough that I was able to go buy video games off
way.
Craigslist. Okay, so I started buying video games off Craigslist, and then I started flipping video games back onto Craigslist and other places. I remember I would buy, like, buckets of video games, and then I would just go sell them at the pawn shop.
Did you ever sell them in school and learn anything?
I used to sell them at the market, actually.
market?
You know, the swap meet.
The saw me?
Yeah, dude. When I was a teenager, like right between high school and college, I spent the summer having my own video game stand.
Did you already like stand there
Yeah,
and
bro.
swap me?
Yeah, no, at 4 in the morning, you
4
know,
in the
go,
morning,
get
man.
set up, pull in with
10
the track.
years old, man. That's
like,
crazy.
No. By
Oh,
then
yeah.
by then I was like 15.
Okay, 15
Yeah,
years
under
old.
14. I was
Oh,
like 14, turning 15, right before I started college.
oh
That
wow,
was,
that's crazy.
that was my summer.
Wow.
And then it was crazy. It was fun though. And
That's
then,
crazy.
Yeah, I was like flipping video games, and I always had been flipping Yu-Gi-Oh cards too.
Yeah.
But the thing that I did that summer as well,
Uh-huh.
or those months before I started college, which
Yeah.
was actually in the summer too.
Yeah.
The things that I did that was probably the most tied to what I do now is Noah Kagan had this challenge, this entrepreneur challenge,
Yeah.
of like him launching a beef jerky store in 48 hours and making like $12,000 or something ridiculous.
Wow.
And I read that at 14. I was like, I got the message wrong. The message wasn't don't launch a beef jerky store. It was just like launch anything that makes sense. I was like, I'm gonna launch a beef jerky store.
In 48 hours.
Yeah, in 48 hours.
Wow.
So I like called my teachers. Hey,
Yeah.
you know, I set up this website. Can I,
Yeah.
sell you some beef jerky? I made like $100.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
as far as it went.
Did you ever do a presentation in school when your teacher's like, oh, do a presentation where you're gonna grow up, what are you gonna be doing in your life? Did you ever do that?
Just as a kid, like
You remember?
I think
our
I
teachers
said
used to tell
something.
us like that.
I think what?
You know, our teachers like, oh, do a presentation where
Yeah.
you're gonna grow up after you're done with high school.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what you're gonna do after high school? Did you ever did that?
The only time I did that with an amount of confidence before, as a kid growing up, I
Yeah.
didn't know what I would do. I was like, oh, a chef, a mailman, like
Policeman.
yeah, whatever. Like
Yeah.
a doctor. Eventually, started becoming a doctor, and
Yeah.
then when I was a teenager, then I was really committed to
Uh-huh.
going to med school. And I remember I even got interviewed on the news, and they're like, "What do you want
Yeah.
to do when you grow up?" And I was like, "I want to go become a neuroscientist, a neurosurgeon."
Oh man.
I know, on the news.
Now you're a scientist in
Good Morning
business though.
Vegas,
Now you're a
right?
scientist in business.
Yeah, man.
Well,
so-
I know your background comes from your dad had your own store, here in Vegas. It's crazy that you come from the same. You have the same similar stories.
Right.
In that part too, very deep too.
Definitely, I think it's the immigration
Yeah.
story, and it's not
Yeah.
just about immigration in America, but I think it's just in general when you migrate.
Mm-hmm.
When the migrations happen all around the world in all different directions. And
Yeah.
when you migrate, you have to become extremely resourceful to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that resourcefulness plays out really well in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And you just get to take control of your situation.
Yeah, and what inspired you to get more and more deeply into entrepreneurship and business, running a company, having a team? What made you go that way? Because your parents too, same as for me, or what made you like, I'm gonna go this route? I'm gonna do the leap of faith. I'm gonna bet on myself every day.
You know what?
You know?
I had this realization post-college. I had this opportunity to live in the Airstream Park in downtown, which was founded by, Tony Hsieh, and,
Yeah.
rest in peace, because he did so much amazing stuff in this community. I know he's extremely missed.
Yeah.
And he made so much impact, which is awesome. And I was grateful to live in that community right after college. After I finished college, student president, was like, coming off of that. And, so I knew some of the folks that were part of the park. I got to have a tiny house in there with two of my best friends, and I was just surrounded by so many cool tech entrepreneurs. That's what it was, And then I just can't, I paid my way through college through digital. But the thing is, I was still on that path to go to med school.
Yeah.
And I had this epiphany of the digital revolution is disrupting and changing everything happening in the world.
Yeah.
And I also recognized that I didn't want to go to school for another 8 years or not be able to get into business for 15 years. I knew that at this point, even as a doctor, I would want to be extremely entrepreneurial. And then I realized, you know what, maybe I don't need to go be a doctor to be an entrepreneur. And I'm just going to focus on tech. And the digital revolution is changing everything anyway, so I'm going to be a part of that. So what happened after high school, dude? You sold candy, you went to network marketing meetups, and then, what happened after high school? How did you start, making money?
Well, after in high school, we started getting 17, 18 years old, I was able to join the network marketing companies, because they let me, they're like, okay, you're 18 years old.
Boom.
Yeah, I used to tell the 21-year-olds, 25, like, man, I wish I was your age. I could join, So, that made me, my dad, back then, he helped me out to be part of it.
Nice.
No money, back then. So I couldn't even pay my own $500 to start a business.
Right.
So, my dad's like, oh, I'll pay you for your membership and you start. And, I was like, okay, how do I do it? It's like we used to go out there in the market, you know, like, and just go like cold market, just
Like knock on doors and pitch people, cold pitch.
yeah, we're pretty much after
and
the store.
give samples and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we used to do that. You know, I told my dad like, oh, let's go network.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just like, but I'm tired. It's like, but my dad's like, I was like, but I believe in you. You used to tell me this.
Yeah.
So we used to do that, even though he was super tired from work.
Right.
We
Right.
used to do
So-
that hustle.
And then at a certain point, you started going to the networking
Yeah.
meetings yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until the point, my dad's like, you know, it's time to go by yourself.
Yeah.
And I was,
He was like, "You're over 18. You've
Yeah.
grown up, son.
Yeah.
Go on and do it.
And
Stop. I want to get some sleep now."
yeah, yeah. And to be honest, I was kind of nervous. You know, when I was
Oh yeah, the first couple times.
the first couple times.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, bro, I suck at talking to people. I suck at communicating. I was like, I don't even know how to keep a conversation going.
Oh
you know?
man.
That was, you know, I was very unconfident with myself. You know, I had good mentors, but they're like, yo, do this. I'm like, how? They're just go. I was like, okay.
So what happened? Like, did you make your money back from network marketing? Would you consider that a success revenue-wise, or mainly in the lessons?
More like in the lessons, you know, nothing wrong with network marketing, and you know, it's a great vehicle. But for me, that helped me the most is that personal development. You know, gain the skills of communication, leadership. You know, able to talk to people anywhere I go, make
That's
friends anywhere in a gas station, anywhere. You know, that thing helped me throughout the years, listening to those audios, to that. You know, those events going at a very young age.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
having
awesome,
those
man.
private mentorships, you know, helped me go to network events and like easy. At the beginning, I used to be super shy. I was like, you know, how do I talk to people?
Right. No, I know. Me
Yeah.
too. Sometimes I still walk into a room and I'm like too shy. But because I was homeschooled, man. So,
Yeah.
you know, like it's still
Yeah.
within me, I guess. Or
Yeah.
maybe I just blame the homeschool. But
Yeah.
going back to, you know, how did you get into photography, content creation? Like, there's still a missing gap, right? The
Yeah.
networking, and then because it's important
Yeah.
in the skills, like communication, leadership,
Yeah.
integrity. These are skills of value, and some of the values are so important. You just need to have to be
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
You know, at the level that we're striving for.
Yeah.
But you also need like superpowers, your specialty skills.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when did you start leveraging your specialty skill of content creation? How did you get into that?
Well, back in 2019, I was I was selling life insurance. I was in the financial industry for 3 years. So me and my mentor back then, we're like, oh, let's start podcasting. And I was like, okay, let's start doing it. You know, it wasn't that popular back then. So we started gaining attraction, and then, you know, little by little, I was like, I love being in front of the camera. I was just 18 years old, so.
That's dope.
And then, you know, little by little.
You were like, I love this.
I love this.
I want to be on camera all the time.
So you know, that's why I started doing it more. We did it for like a year. We grew a huge audience. We were, you know, educating people on how money works and everything. And then after that, I was like, okay, you know, I was getting clients through social media in that industry. And there's one time I had 36 appointments
Oh, shit.
through
Nice.
social media.
That's awesome. Like in 1 week?
Yeah, in 1 week.
Everybody must have been like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're like, you're killing it.
Yeah, but how did you get that? Through video?
Just posting.
Oh,
on
just
social
posting?
media. On
That's
social
awesome,
media.
bro. Yeah, that's what's
So I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go to this world
of social media.
of social media and recording content.
Where did you get in on Facebook or MySpace?
I was on Facebook, Instagram, and everything. So I just started recording with an iPhone 6, no equipment, nothing.
Yep.
You know, I was like, okay, my first business I started working was a flower shop. I started recording, taking photos with
Nice.
my iPhone.
Yeah.
So
Super underutilized, by
Yeah.
the way. You
Yeah.
know, the iPhone.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's pretty solid.
yeah, so you know, I started with that, no equipment. You know, I was like, okay, just started charging a little bit of money. Some
Okay.
of them were kind of free. And then I was like, oh, this is actually fun. I was
Yeah.
like, and then I saw the vision of it, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna stick to this because it's gonna keep on growing bigger and bigger. That's when I realized, you know, this is a great industry to start back then when it wasn't that popular as it is right now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, you know.
We were talking about the content creation you're doing in the flower shops.
Yeah.
And, you know, for life insurance. When were you, and you're selling that as a service, social media marketing as a service. And then what happened after that? When did you come to Promise Startups and launching Suriel Creations?
So, you know, back then I was doing freelance. You know, I was doing freelance, and then, you know, started building a team, and then the pandemic came, and then.
Oh, right. Man,
Yeah.
man. The pandemic hit us all hard.
Hit us all hard. So
Some folks harder.
I lost clients, and I lost my entire team that I had back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I was kind of like, how do I get back up? So, you know, so that's what happened. And, you know, I told myself I'm going to do a huge comeback. And, you know, I did the comeback.
So social media definitely can help with that comeback, right?
Yeah.
Being on social media.
Yeah.
Everybody turned to social media during the pandemic.
Yeah.
When did your business start picking up?
You know, I think after the pandemic in 2020, I told myself it's time to get back up. I mean, it's like 2021.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, okay, it's time to get back up. But I had to like, you know, I think the pandemic kind of threw me off a little.
Oh, yeah, threw everybody off.
So
in 2021, I think we did our first Promise Startups cohort.
yeah, that's when I met you.
Mm-hmm.
And I messaged you, you know, I was like, bro, like I lost my company. I was like, I didn't know how to, I know how to start again, but I kind of lost a lot of belief in myself, you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to connect, and you know, teamwork makes the dream work. And
Yeah.
So you joined the Promise Startups first cohort where we were doing micro grants.
Yeah.
And that was cool. And that was really intensive. I think the very first cohort that we did, we made it very intensive. It was like 8 weeks long. But it was like 4 days a week. Right?
Show up
Monday,
every
Tuesday,
day.
Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, I show up every day, Monday through Thursday.
Early too.
Yeah. Oh man. And
and we were like a little bit of student. Well, back then we were like, you know, being the
it was
first.
like 12 people.
We were like the first one, so you know we didn't have what we had today, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and I remember, you know, back then I just knew the business side of doing business, but I didn't know the part of technology and operations.
For sure.
That you know that you're super strong at. That, you know, when I met you, like, bro, you know how to operate, you know, the entire system. Like I had an idea about the system and operations, but not fully to an extent, you know.
Right, but
Yeah.
and it's really cool because after Promise Startups, then you
Yeah.
started your new company, like your
Yeah.
second at bat of
Yeah.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Tell us about what that company is.
So, you know, Scooter Creations was founded back then. So, you know, because I told myself, you know, even back when I was doing freelance, I was like, if I'm going to pay for an LLC, if I'm going to pay for a business name, I'm going to keep it. This is like, either I do it or I fail, or I do it and I just keep on going. That's what I told myself, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to start over again, you know.
Like give it your best shot.
Give it my best shot. You know?
Yeah. So it's Oscar Creations.
Yeah.
And you obviously do content creation.
Yeah.
And then you went on, like after Promise Startups, there was like a bit of a gap because you graduated.
Yeah.
And then you went on to like, tell us what you were doing after you graduated and now that you were focused on Oscar Creations.
So when after that, you know, after Promise Startups, I started working, you know, doing production stuff for political people, and I'm not going to talk about it, but, you know, I started recording for that, started getting like, you know, gigs like of like, you know, events, started taking photos, started doing that back again, and, you know, that's how I started to work with businesses, entrepreneurs, and real estate, you know, little by little. And you know, I told myself, I'm gonna build this brand. I'm gonna build it right. I'm gonna do things right. You know, like in the past, you know, I was just like, really just a practice.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know, I was like, oh, now it's serious to do, like, go big or go home. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
You know.
That's how we're living it right now. It's
Yeah.
go big. There's no go home. It's just keep going
Yeah,
big.
keep on going. But how about you, Elias? I know we met that day. You know, we were just starting it. How about you tell us your part?
Yeah, for sure. So I got involved with Promise Startups because I felt like there was I was missing the sense of community, man. Like I knew that eventually after the corporate tech stuff that I was doing, that I would want to launch my own startup. I knew that was the direction that I wanted to go, but I was looking around and I didn't see any other or too many other entrepreneurs, and I was missing that sense of in-person community that felt that reminded me of reminiscent of like all of the empowerment I got in the Airstream Park. And so I approached Nevada Partners because I was working with them on another project related to housing, and I was like, hey, how can we foster entrepreneurship, and how can we do podcasting, and how can we foster youth education and development and stuff like that. And shout out to Ella, because she was here as a project manager, and she was just always so amazing to work with, and empowering to work with. Always believed in whatever crazy ideas we had, and no problem. Let's make it happen. And then show up, 15 minutes earlier than us, and work super hard, and so it's much appreciated.
And we were in this space when we had like nothing that's going on right now,
Yep. So between Ella and Lizette, they advocated for us to get this space in the first place. And, I remember we
started
did
in the room up there.
Right. Well, we did that interview with Congressman Horsford for the first time. That was really cool. and I felt like, you know, I barely knew how to get the like streaming thing to work, and you were still kind of getting used to like doing it because you know, we had like 15 minutes to make sure everything worked.
Yeah.
And you know, people were calling me on my phone. The whole thing was, you know, it worked out, and then we got a lot of mileage out of that video.
Yeah,
But to
yeah.
be able to do another interview that we did, you know, literally like 10 days ago here in this space, as we grand opened this space,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, the journey over the last couple of years when we had access to the space, but it was like empty, and we still were able to foster connection and collaboration. That's really where it comes to is, you know, we are better when we're together and supporting each other and pouring into one another and collaborating and connecting and co-creating. And that's what the space is really meant for.
Yeah.
And to have everything that we have now, I think is really a launching pad for us to be able to reach and impact a lot more people and create a lot more successful entrepreneurs. And now I'm excited for that.
No, yeah, definitely. Because I remember me as for you, we used to do our meetings with, you know, without the nice desk.
Right, without the nice lights.
You know, I used to bring people here too, like, oh, come to this office. They're like, oh, you know. But
This is your office? You're like, yeah, pop a squat. Pull out a chair for them.
so, but now to see, you know, able to do comfortable meetings, you know, bring people here, they get amazed.
Yeah, I think
You
with,
know.
you know, the welcoming factor is so important. I didn't realize how important it was.
Yeah. It just changed. It has changed the whole entire, like,
The vibe.
Vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
especially those pink chairs.
Yeah, and so, you know, Promise Startups has really been like a accelerant, I think, to both of us.
Yeah, definitely.
And to so many other folks, and
Yeah.
and hopefully can continue to be that. And really, the premise is it's just about connection, collaboration,
And community.
co-creation. Exactly, and that's why we got to turn this to a pitch, right? What do we got coming up?
So man, so it's crazy, right? You know this, and you tell me.
Our upcoming
Oh yes,
conference.
our coming
right?
conference.
We just did too many things. Actually, we have something coming up this Wednesday too.
Yes.
So this Wednesday, we want to invite you to join us over at the West Side Oasis for a new business mixer at 5:30 p.m. Now, this mixer, we're really hoping it's going to be for some of the folks that come out and work out of the incubator. And so we got to make sure you get y'all badges, that's for sure. So let's get y'all badges this week, and hope to see folks over at the mixer.
West.
And then that's this Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. So the Westside Oasis is right next to us from the incubator. And then we've got our upcoming conference.
Yes,
Can you
March
tell them
2,
about that?
right? March 2, we have our upcoming conference. You know, we're gonna keep on talking about new topics. You know, I know Elias has so many new topics for next month. You know.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know.
we'll have some interesting entrepreneurs talk about their businesses. I think we're gonna have like a hotel entrepreneur, a restaurant entrepreneur, and a business coach from UNLV. And I'm being real secretive of the names right now
Yeah, we
because
can't say
they're
the
gonna be big.
Can't
And,
say the name.
and
Surprise, guys.
yeah, so that's gonna be exciting. But then, what else do you like about the conference?
Bro,
About
I think
food.
the food. You know, it's been amazing. You know, I remember when we started a couple years ago, just 12 people, no food. Just,
Oh yeah, before we even created the concept of a conference, it was just the regular meetups. It
Yeah,
was
just
like
regular
a
meetups.
Entrepreneur meetup.
So regular meetups, you know, that's how it really started. Then Elias one day is like, we sat down, we're like, bro, you want to start this over again?
Yeah, like let's do a conference.
Let's do a conference. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So, you know, that's how it started. That's a year ago.
Yeah, it was last year for sure.
Yeah.
This is gonna be our 10th conference, so
Yeah.
it was like 10 months ago or something.
Yeah.
But there's like an energy. There's an
Yeah.
energy, and it's really the energy that comes when you show up, when you come with an open mind, you come with a generous attitude that you're going to give your support to other people, and you find synergies. It's like energy is flowing, and you just like find the right things. And if you have a business that you need support with, we have UNLV professors come out. We have seasoned entrepreneurs, investors. And us, we'll be your cheerleaders.
Yeah, no, and you know, just to let you guys know, the community, and I appreciate everybody that said they got so much help in their business in different ways. You know, they said it in the events.
Yep.
They say it personally. They call us. You know, it's amazing. Appreciate all of you guys in that part, because that means we're doing something, and you know they're growing little by little, you know, as themselves too.
And we want to grow fast.
Yeah, we want to grow fast.
We want our community over here to
Yeah.
leapfrog into millionaires, into serial entrepreneurs, because you know what's
Yes.
real special about the community we have over here is that everybody is about supporting each other and
Yes.
helping each other reach their goals.
Mhm.
And so we want you to be super successful because we know that you're going to go help a bunch of other people. And you're going to
Yes.
pay it forward.
You just pay it forward, how Elias said it, and we still pay it forward for today.
Right. So I guess that's it. We did a podcast. Woo! Hustle Science Experiment.
You guys see you guys at the next one, guys. Like and subscribe.